In this episode, we meet James Mullenix, who tells us how he survived obesity and what it took to get there. You're listening to the Good Gossip Podcast.
Welcome back to the Good Gossip Podcast. It's season 2, some episode in the middle of the season, and I'm Todd Revis.
And I'm Melissa Elizondo.
And Melissa is going to introduce our guest today. She brought a really amazing guest, and I've already been talking to her for about 30 minutes, and my energy level is super high, and I'm excited to share this guy's journey with you. So, Melissa, will you please introduce our guest?
Yes, so this is James Mullenix, and I met your wife, I believe it was in August. And it was on a networking group, and then we got together and had a one-to-one little coffee together, and we talked nutrition the entire time. I had no idea what we were getting into, but that was kind of the beginning of my journey of trying to get healthy at that point. And then fast forward, I met you, and I didn't realize that you had survived obesity. And I was like, what? When I found out how much you used to weigh and know you now, I was like, how'd you do that? And so we had a little bit of conversation, and I thought, I got to get you on the podcast because I'm in this journey currently and you've already been to the other side of it. So tell me, let's go back. Like, were you always overweight, or did it just creep up on you? Like, how did it start?
Yeah, I started life as a husky boy. I was always a little big. Even in elementary school, just a thicker kid. Got called the chubby kid, the fat kid. They call me fat boy. As a kid. And it was just fun growing up. And I was always very active with ADHD, super hyper. Just gotta go. So I didn't eat a lot, and you learn your nutrition way later in life because as a kid, you're not focused on that. You're focused on having fun, doing things with your friends, all these different things, and going through school. And when you're younger, your metabolic rates just kick in. You're going, your hormones are going, everything's just all over the place. So you don't have the weight factors that we do after our like mid 20s. Things change. So yeah, I mean, being heavier pretty much my whole life, where my weight really went out of control. I started probably when I was about 220, 230, 250. Like I would range that area just on average life, not thinking about health, not thinking about weight gain, nothing. And then I started my business building the race motors. Fast forward like 6-7 years, that business was very, very busy. I mean, 15, 16-hour days, like 6-7 days a week, no problem. Man, and you just eat terrible. You think, what's the fastest thing I can get?
Yeah.
Fast food. Let's go down to McDonald's. Let's go down to In-N-Out, whatever. I mean, I was eating In-N-Out 3 times a week, 3x3s with animal style fries and the big, large sodas and all that stuff. And my weight crept up. I mean, I got to 300 and I was like, wow, this sucks. I'm 300 pounds, and I'm trying to do race car stuff. I got to get in and out of things with roll cages and tight fitting areas and all this stuff. And this is terrible. Well, I got to keep going. And I mean, I got all the way to 358. 5'10".
5'10". I'm trying to picture that, and I know that when we produce this episode in a few weeks, we're going to put pictures, before and after pictures of you.
Yeah.
And if you could send us some pictures when you were a kid too, that would be interesting.
I had to find some. Yeah. I mean, if you can imagine a little butterball turkey before you stuck it in the oven, put a shirt on him and I had it.
That's awesome.
It was hard. I mean, it made it very difficult.
I think that's normal for
I was going to say that's my journey.
This is the pace of life.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I kind of managed. I was like 198 in high school, 189, 198 in that range. And then in my early 20s, I just maintained about 210 to 225, had my first kid, got up to 250, got back down with my second kid to 225. And I kind of stayed in that range forever. And then I opened my own business and it was real estate. And so going busy, showing clients not eating right. And so I slowly gained over 6 years, I gained 10 pounds a year. And when you think about 10 pounds over 12 months, it's so minimal. You don't even realize it's happening. But next thing you know, I'm 298. And then I breached the 300. I got up to 332, which is where I was in July when my grandson was born. And I was like, this has got to change, and I hurt all the time. I had heartburn all the time. I mean, I was sleeping terribly. I would rest by binge watching Netflix and eating crap. And that was how I rested on the weekends.
Yep.
And then I'd wake up Monday morning feeling horrible, pissed off at myself. So I'd start Monday just in a terrible
Yeah.
position.
Emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally, physically, everything hurt. There was one point where I could not walk from my car to my desk without walking like a 80-year-old,
Hurt
just
your ankles. I remember there
my
were
ankles
times.
were swollen, my knee was swollen. I kept having swelling in my
Yeah,
knees,
all the time.
and it was just like, what is going on?
And so when your grandson was born, that's when you kind of hit, wait a minute, and you have changed your lifestyle, and we'll get into that. I definitely want to hear more. Well, they want to hear more about that.
Yeah, but I want to hear his
But
story.
I want to hear, when did you have that moment?
Yeah.
So my big life-changing moment, and it's like you say, you had a granddaughter. My son came into my life. I mentioned to you guys before the cast. It was about 4 years to lose this weight. That was just a weight loss part of my journey. My kid was born in April 2017. So he came into my life, and it was like, man. And I'm sitting there playing with him and getting on the couch, getting up out of the couch. Like, this is hard. I'm going to have to, excuse me, I'm going to have to run with this kid. This kid, he's me. I know myself when I was little. Like, we're going to be going 100 miles an hour all day long from the time I get up till I can't be this guy that can't barely get off the couch and chase him,
Yep.
He's going to want to have fun with his dad. And I said, I'm not going to be that dad. I have to be that good dad for him. And it took place really quick. I just started focusing on the weight loss. I was going through diet after diet. I mean, thousands of dollars.
You mentioned, so you mentioned earlier that, like, I was like, how'd you do it? We were having the preamble to the show, and you said, well, I did what everyone did. I did every diet you can imagine.
Yep.
And so tell me about that part of the journey.
So it's fluctuations. I went on these things where you would eat these little bars, and they were like, oh my gosh, they just like taste like balsa wood or something, Like, what's this little bar? And then you go in and they're like, oh, you need a B6, a B12 shot. So they're charging you for these shots you put in you to keep you going because you're not getting any nutrition in your body whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
But your mind says, I'm losing weight. This is great. This is what I need to be doing. The headaches don't matter. The fact that I could barely have the energy to do things throughout my day doesn't matter, but I'm losing weight. This is important. So the American diet is so far off key from what we need to be eating daily. And I've learned that, so I coach this to people on how to eat. We'll get into that a little bit later, but, but it's huge, with what your diets can do for you. The weight loss is not that important now that I've learned it. It's like, if you start taking care of yourself the way you should,
that's a byproduct.
It's a side effect.
Yes.
The weight loss is a side effect of taking care of yourself. So once you get that mindset that, okay, I just need to change my lifestyle. I need to change the way I live every day. It becomes second nature. It becomes easy. Like I say, everybody wakes up. It takes 21 days to develop a habit. I tell them that. And if you can wake up every day and brush your teeth, you can make this change because we all have that instilled in us. It's very easy to form a habit. So learning that, understanding that, and putting your mindset to take care of that and to be my focus is that for 21 days. And then all of a sudden, this is easy. I don't even have to think about it. I just go throughout my day and wait, 3 months later, I'm down 60 pounds. I wasn't trying to lose weight. I wasn't stepping on the scale, but I just happened to step on it today. And here I am. Holy cow.
So you took the focus off of the weight loss and put the focus in, because some people, I'm included, obsess about the weight loss because that is the barometer for how you're doing. It tells you, you keep doing what you're doing. So I can see why we as humans get focused on that quick result because we're hoping that will motivate us further.
Yep.
I actually just got out of the habit of weighing every day. So I've been weighing every day. Yeah. So I was weighing every day for the last 3 months. And I heard somebody on a podcast say, if you focus on the scale, you're not going to focus on the changes you're making. And if you focus on the changes you're making, you don't need to focus on the scale. Yep. And so that
sounds like what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like anything. You have an A to Z process. And I tell people that you can't go from A to Z without going through B, C, D, E. All those have to be in order. So if your focus is Z, which is your weight, you want to see that goal at the end. You're not focusing on the right things. So you have to really focus on the next step, the next stage. There's way more victories in your measurements, your clothes changing, because as your body loses weight, it took us years to put that weight on. This didn't happen overnight. We can't step on the scale tomorrow and expect to be down 5 pounds. It's not going to happen that way. So you have to be focused on the long term, and the way you feel, the way you look. You're going to see, like, as you're going 2 months later, wow, I have to buy new clothes. That's a victory. That is a huge victory. I did it 4 times. I mean, I was a 4XL shirt with a size 48 to 50 waist, and I'm down to a large shirt with a 32 that's loose on me on my waist now. I mean, that's just by changing my lifestyle. And I don't step on the scale. I when I hit 191, 192, I quit looking at the scale. I did it last time. I'm like, I don't even know what I am anymore.
You're probably about that.
Yeah, and I went off track. I went on a trip. I learned, hey man, when you go on vacation or something, you gotta be prepared for that, because I was not, and I came back and I stepped on the scale. And I was like, well, wow, I'm way off from
Wow.
where I was. So that was again a focus. Like for me, it was a learning curve. Like I just got to get back into my lifestyle. And I haven't checked since then. I just feel great. My clothes are back to where they fit, but I'm probably in that 190 range. Again, I have no idea.
So what were the hard and fast rules that you gave yourself during the weight loss period that was working for you? So like as far as what you ate, what you didn't eat.
So I cut out, so with what we do with our program that we coach other people with, we cut out processed foods. We try to cut out anything with preservatives, pesticides, which is like glyphosate, that kind of stuff. It's in 75% of the foods that we eat.
I just saw that the other day. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
Have you heard the rule? If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it.
Exactly. And some of those things are unavoidable in the foods. Like I say, 75% of them. And then the processed foods. So anything processed, I mean, geez Louise, anything fast food, like sugars, natural sugars, I have, I eat them,
like
there's
honeys
cocoa sugars, honeys. My coffee's got, I replaced like all the creamers and all that stuff you put in your coffee with just maple syrup, organic maple syrup. I go to the farmer's market right here. I get the bees honey, the local bees honey, which actually helps with allergies and that kind of stuff. And then I use oat milk. That's what I've used as a substitute. I cut out all dairy. Dairy.
I do oat milk.
Yeah, exactly. So those simple changes.
Are eggs dairy? Or are you talking about the cream,
protein.
the butter, the milk-based dairy?
Yeah, milk-based, all that stuff. I tried it. So for me, that made the biggest difference when you're trying to restore gut health. That's your biome. That was super important, and I did not understand that. Why do I thought it was stress? This pain in my stomach.
We were just talking about that. My daughter came over the other night and said she bought some probiotics because she's been reading about, and I was like, yeah, it's really, gut health is super important. And my wife was like, I've heard that, but what does that mean? And I've listened to some podcasts on functional health and understanding the gut is like the brain of the body.
Every organ.
Yes. And and there's like this thin lining on it, like a, what do you call that? Like a membrane.
Mm-hmm.
And if that gets punctured, I mean, that is your, the gut
gut.
is the, that hill over there that where all the trash trucks go and dump everything. That's the gut, right?
It is.
That is the sewer or the landfill. And so we have to keep it healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would recommend,
So how do
we're
you
not going to have a
keep your
gut
healthy?
health.
So by not putting those things in it, that's one of the biggest things.
Okay.
Stop
so
putting that stuff
you got to
in
stop the processed foods, all that stuff. There, like I say, the pesticides, they're unavoidable. That's in like all that stuff. Even our organic vegetables, fruits, all that kind of stuff, it's still going to be in there because they have to control the pests. So in the program I do, there's a thing called Biomedic, which actually goes in and helps to flush those out, to kill those pesticides, anything. Because you think about parasites, they come in and they're like a larva. They carry eggs and all this stuff. So even if you cook your food and all that stuff, sometimes that forms like a cocoon around that, and they go in and they hatch the eggs inside of your gut, so you're spawning more of those things in there. And you don't want those critters in there. It's just like, it's kind of gross.
That's gross.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't figure out why that pain was always there. I thought I was stressed. And after my first 30 days of this deal on the program, I was like, wow, that pain's gone. This is amazing. The inflammation, I had a ton of motocross injuries and stuff like that, and just damage from all the stupid stuff I did when I was young, knee surgeries and all that. And the doctors are going to be walking with a cane when you're 40. I'm 44. I'm going to the gym, now 4 or 5 days a week, no problem. And I don't have to walk with a cane because I got rid of that inflammation pain. And that's what the doctors want to do when you go to visit them. What's the first thing they do? They're going to give you an analysis, and they're going to give you a prescription. What's the next bill? They're funded through pharmaceuticals. So that's their job. That's what they want to do. If they tell you to go eat healthy, they're not going to have a repeat customer. They're not going to have that person come back with more problems and more problems. That's what they're looking for.
You said something off camera about you don't get sick anymore.
No, it's been 2 years. Yeah. So since I've been with this program, eating healthy, eating plant-based, and every guy, you tell them the words vegan, plant-based, any of that kind of stuff, and I know 6 months before I tried this, before I even wanted to give it a shot, I said, my wife kept telling me, do it for your inflammation, do it for this. I'm like, heck no, I ain't doing no chick diet. This is stupid. I'm not trying this. I'm sorry. I've done all the diets. You've seen my results. I'm not trying this. Finally, one day I quit being a stubborn ass and tried it. And I was very surprised. So I tried eating that in and out because I did like every diet. not to mention, I lost 28 pounds on the first 30 days I did on this program. Felt the best I've ever felt. But my head, I wanted to go eat that cheat meal.
You keep saying I know what you mean. And we've talked about cheat meals before.
Yeah.
So, but to help me, you said the program. Like, what's the program? Is there a name for is it a business? Because I know that you work on cars. I know that you said something earlier about metal. Like, tell us a little bit about your daily life and what your jobs are, and tell us about the program.
Okay, so I'll start with what I've done for my entire life. I've been a race car engine guy. I've been building motors since I was 14 years old. I'm 44. I'm still building motors.
That's awesome.
I took that to a level about 8-9 years ago. I wanted to take it to my own business. Like I said, I started that, and it grew so fast that it was just unreal. And the reputation just got really good in the industry for the off-road racing, drag racing, all this stuff. So,
what's the name of your motor building company?
It's Mullenix Racing Engines.
Mullenix.
Yeah. So it's my last name. So I built race motors and all that stuff. And then when I got into this with the nutrition stuff and losing the weight, I just started a little Instagram page for myself. There was 0 followers. I made it private. I didn't want anybody to see what I was doing. I wanted a place to log my photos of my progress, of what I was doing, how it was going. So one day, I got all this huge change. I'm like, I need to make a compare photo. So I did. And I was like, holy smokes. My wife's like, you need to post that. Like, you need to show that to people because you can help somebody else. I'm like, and that's what she's been wanting to do for, she does that. That's what she's been doing for a long time. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't want to put that out there, And then I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it. And that page rapidly grew. I put a couple posts on my race engine page just so people could see, hey, this is what James is up to. Because I had literally customers come up to me and be like, hey, is James here?
Oh,
and I'm like, yeah, that's me. They're all, no, you're his brother. Like, you're messing with me. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, what? They don't recognize me because you're.
I can't wait to see the before.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So that was just where it started. And then I said, okay, I'm going to start posting this because I had a few guys, hey man, can you help me? Can you help me? I'm like, yeah, I'll help you, no problem. So it grew. And now I got people calling me, messaging me every single day. So that has become my business, is helping people coach. We work with a company that is mission driven. They've been around for 28 years, promoting this lifestyle. And the program they created is called the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation.
Okay.
So it's really to help people feel good, to feel what that difference is between the American diet and eating a healthy diet, and feel it and see it and look at the results they get. Not just weight loss, but I mean, like I say, the inflammation. We got people with eczema, psoriasis, a lot of chemical imbalances. I suffered from massive depression. Like when I was eating that bad, your body is inhibited for producing the hormonal things that you need to be able to do. Serotonin is the happy chemical in your body for your brain to feel happy. When your gut health is inhibited as bad as mine was, and a lot of people are, you suffer from depression. It's
underproducing serotonin and dopamine, things like that.
Absolutely, all those things. And then, melatonin production for nighttime, sleeping, all that stuff. I struggle with sleep like everybody.
Which, by the way, when I talk to my daughter's nutritionist, all that happens in the gut. So
yes.
Your opening and closing of this flow happens in the, your serotonin producing, your melatonin coming.
You're shutting the valve off.
Yeah, it all happens in the gut. And there's all these sphincters that close and open throughout your intestines that trigger those productions. It's fascinating, by the way.
It is. It truly is. And then to understand it and be like, wow, to feel that difference, that blows my mind, And then anyways, with the company, what they do, they're just mission driven. Like you say, you help the next guy, help the next person through your posts, through your results, and just keep posting about it. And
I like that because one of the things I told you earlier, you're not on this podcast because you've lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
That you lost 150 pounds. We wanted to get to know you better. She wanted us to have you on because of the journey she's going through and your willingness to help other people. I think that's what makes people exceptional, is if they have success and they show other people how to do it. Or if they have, I think some of the sickest people in the world are focused only on themselves. And I'm not saying, I'm not picturing anybody in my head. I'm just saying there is a sickness that is a selfishness of it's all about me. And we have blinders on and we just go through life trying to survive.
Yep.
For somebody to have as much anxiety, bills to pay, kids to raise, wives to please, husbands to please, businesses to run, all these things, and still they have time to think about how can I help someone else have a better journey?
Yeah.
That
to
Those
succeed.
are my people.
Those are my people
Those
too.
are you. That's you. and
Finding
that's me, and
meaning in
that's our
life
people.
is when we get to help our community succeed in whatever their life is
Yeah,
supposed to be.
because you could have just been some tough guy that builds motors. He's cool, man's man,
Eh.
lost his weight, and is like, all right, screw everybody else. But
Yeah.
but so it's attractive. You're attractive to other people because you want to help people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different. And you see all these promoting guys on Instagram and all this stuff, and they're like, I'm the tough guy. I'm going to get you and whoop your butt into shape and all this stuff. And it's like, man, how do people relate to that?
Yeah.
It's like people relate to me because, like we're talking right now, I'm me 24/7. That's it. I've always worn my heart on my sleeve, and this is me. What you get, it's right here in front of you,
We've had some interesting conversations. Like when I talked to your wife specifically, and I told her I had a sweet tooth,
Okay.
she was like, bitter greens, flooding your system with bitter greens will help that sweet
Bitter
tooth craving.
greens?
Yeah, bitter greens.
What are bitter greens?
I don't have a sweet tooth, so I never had to deal with this.
Like kale,
Like kale?
spinach, asparagus, Brussels sprouts,
Okay.
things like that. And when I eat those things, I don't have craving. And then I talked to you recently, and I told you I've gone through this peanut butter addiction, like
Oh, yes.
like
Yeah.
a literal crackhead.
I've had that.
hiding in the closet with anyway. I'm ashamed, but I'm telling you all right
Almond
now.
butter, all these different things you can get nowadays. That's
Yeah,
not,
and you
not
were
sugar
like,
filled.
Yeah, and that
processed.
was what you told me. You were like,
Yeah.
peanut butter happens to be the most inflammatory of all nut butters,
Yeah,
and
like,
especially
I
when
love
it's
peanut
processed.
butter.
Yeah, especially all the sugary ones. You get like Jif and all these
Yeah.
ones off the store shelves, and it's like you look at a natural peanut butter ingredient. It's like, oh, nut butter, and it's okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's real basic. But you look at like the ones that are promoted and advertised and all that stuff. What are all this paragraph of little lines underneath? And every nutrition label, if you're trying to take care of yourself, you should be looking at that. There's words in there that you can't pronounce, and I always say if you're eating something natural, there shouldn't be any more than three to four ingredients in that little label underneath your nutrition facts. So if you're eating stuff with all that in there, okay, this is just advertising. It's the way they
Okay,
way
so
they get you to buy
let's
it.
talk about this elephant in the room. It's expensive to eat healthy.
I will agree.
I've heard
my,
that.
My
And
grocery bill has gone up, but my eating out bill has gone down.
that's key. I know that is. And so if you really net it out, then you're saving money. I remember after I had a heart attack. So my journey, and I'm not one of these guys that I was fixed. Oh, that heart attack changed my life. And no, I went right back to doing all the bad stuff I was doing. I'm heavier now than I was when I had my heart attack, or about the same. But I'm like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm surrounded by people like you guys and a lot of people at my church that are super healthy people. And so I have all this positive influence around me, but I still hide in the closet and eat peanut butter. I eat it with apples thinking I'm being healthy. But it's Jif.
Dips to Jif, man.
Might as well be dipping it in caramel. But I remember when I love quinoa, and so I'll eat that, right?
all the time.
And I remember I was living in Seguin, Texas, and I went to Walmart to go buy healthy. Walmart is the hardest store to buy healthy.
It is.
Well, guess what? 75% of our population, the middle class and the lower middle class, they're going to Walmart. And they're going to HEB, or they're going to the grocery store, but they also they frequent Walmart, and they're going in there, and it's like looking for diamonds in a cave to try to find something healthy. Really,
Don't go in the middle aisles at all then, because all the processed stuff is in the middle aisles, and all the organic, natural stuff is on the outside. I don't even go to the grocery store anymore because I don't think I can handle it. I have been ordering HEB delivery for 3 years, even pre-COVID, before everybody was doing it. I had to go show people how to do it, and I don't think I could handle the grocery store.
Never go to the grocery store hungry. That's why
Yeah,
you buy everything
yeah.
inside.
yeah, everybody
So-
knows that.
Yeah.
So
I
go
do that though sometimes.
So to go back to address that elephant you talked about, with what we do and what I was talking about with the company that I work with, we kind of went ahead of them all, but the company, like I said, 28 years, mission driven. So you're getting pretty much your entire day planned out for you through the program that we do with the lifestyle transformation. You get 2 meal replacements in the program throughout your day. You're going to have the essential amino acids, which a lot of companies out, you look at all these different, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but you go to a nutrition store and you look at the amino acids, there's 3, maybe 4 parts in a complete amino acid that they sell. The rest is fillers, dyes, all these chemicals, all these different things. So you're inhibiting your gut health once again. This company gives you a true 9-part amino acid with all the parts that a true amino has. So you're getting 5 grams of protein per tab. You're taking 10 a day, so 50 grams of protein absorbed into your body at a 99% utilization rate. That right there is key for men, retaining muscle. Women as well, staying lean, keeping your energy up, all these things. Everybody's focused on protein. Like there's people in the hospital with protein deficiencies these days. There's nobody. But this is the cleanest protein you can get, on the market. Everything comes from plants to start with. So that's in there. You have the Biomedic, which is to help your gut. You have a super cleanser at the end, which is to really help your deep colon cleanse to get that out. At nighttime, you take this stuff that's called Apothecary, which is a high tart cherry concentrate. And that is amazing because cleansing out your liver, all that stuff is really another key part of getting your body healthy. And that really enhances the natural melatonin production. Huge.
Helps you
So if
sleep
you want to
too.
sleep like a baby and not wake up hungover like I used to do, it's awesome just to have 2 tablespoons, and man, just you can make a cocktail out of it. Some people use like a seltzer water, that stuff. But to address that elephant we talked about, I was spending, my goodness, to go to it's fast food twice a day, probably $35. I mean, I go like you go, it's $15 now to go get a cheeseburger, fries, and a drink, right? And if you get anything else, I want 2 tacos with it from Jack and Mike. You're $15-$16, to get fast food twice a day. So $30. When you break my program down, it's less than $11 a day to be on it. And the 2 meal replacements are amazing. That's where you get your main nutrition. You're getting like 6 microgreen salads. If you could imagine eating 6 microgreens in one shot twice a day, so 12 of them, and it's absorbing in your body, not just food that you break down, digest, and process and get it out. You're absorbing this on a cellular level. So this is what's really helping the natural healing in your body, to get you feeling good, to get your gut health back in order, to get your skin, when you're exfoliating on those problems, you see those psoriasis and all that stuff. I've had guys within 15, 20 days, they're down 65, 70% of what they had on their skin showing. And the inflammation pain, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I've taken so many pills that just create other problems. How come nobody's told me that I could just have this and that pain's gone? Because they don't make money off of it. And if you think about it, spending $11 a day to get through your entire day, you're adding small snacks. I mean, my grocery bill for a family of 3 went from like $220 a week with family of 3 down to like $75-$80 because of what we're not
So
buying.
you talk about it's a program that you pay for, and they send you these things and the supplementation and all the stuff you just talked about, and then 2 meal replacement, either bars or shakes, whatever they are. They're shakes, right? And so then you still have to make meals, right?
You still make one whole food meal. And for the guys that don't want to be considered vegan and all that stuff, I coach them, okay, look, you can have your chicken, you can have your steak, you can have your fish. I always advise to stay away from pork because of how high the parasite contents are in pork.
I'm making ribs later.
That's why my brother doesn't eat
I'm making
pork.
spare ribs later.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a guy. I still have my meals. I'm going to go out every 2 weeks or so. We're going to go to dinner. And what I'm going to have for dinner, I'm going to have what I want. I'm not going to limit it. You got to live life. You got to enjoy those things, but you got to learn boundaries and limitations. So when we go out to dinner, I'm going to have pizza. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have everything I want to have in that one meal. But I know the next day I'm not going to feel the greatest, and it's going to take me a couple of days to get back. But the focus is getting back to your lifestyle, the way you lived, and not to just carry that out, not to keep eating that bad pizza like I was doing 4 days a week.
I think it's really crazy if you think about. I've heard that before, that people that I know, a friend, actually Randy Henson, who was been a guest on our podcast, my pastor, he did 75 hard, and at the end of 75 hard, he couldn't wait to be on day 76. He was going to go to In-N-Out. He was going to go to Chick-fil-A. He was going to eat 2 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. He was going to go. He wanted Chicago pizza, so he was going to go to Austin, find this famous Chicago pizza, all this stuff. And so I asked him about it. I was like, "Was it fun, dude, to like tear into all these fat?" He was like, "Dude, I felt horrible."
That's how Melanie is getting to 75 hard,
yeah.
and then she ate something after,
The
and
next
she
day.
felt like crap.
Okay, so that makes sense, right? If you're feeding yourself nothing but good stuff, and your body's going, yeah, this is great, and then you go eat a pizza, then of course you're going to feel bad. What's crazy, everyone, look at me. We have to understand this. People like me right now in my life that are eating kind of on accident, not making a plan, I am feeling that way every day, so I don't notice it.
That was my life.
It just goes right. You're in the fog.
I'm in the fog, and so if I go eat a chicken fried steak right after this, and then I eat pizza tonight, tomorrow morning I won't notice a difference.
So you're already feeling that low
because I already feel low.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to know what the other thing feels like.
That's what I never
Oh,
understood until I went.
amazing.
I felt great. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is what I've wanted out of diets. And I was saying the next day I went to In-N-Out. At day 31, I was like, I'm going to In-N-Out. 3x3 animal fries. I made it probably 4 bites through that burger and started throwing up. Like my body, the salt, sodium, I was like, this doesn't taste like what I remember, because your palate changes, your cravings.
Yeah, I think
Your
that's
your
important.
taste buds
All
change
of it.
every 2 weeks. Like you have
Yeah.
brand new taste
I
buds.
think, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so once you cut that out and you start eating fresh vegetables, fruits, your things taste better than they did when you were still eating crappy
Amazing.
and then trying to do it. Yeah.
So when I had my heart attack, I was 43. It was like 7, almost 8. Well, 7.5 years ago, and I, of course, jumped on the egg whites and spinach and feta omelets, and I was posting them on Facebook and showing everybody's proud of me because I was
eating healthy.
He's eating healthy, yay! You know, he learned his lesson. Not really, but I remember about 3 months later. Or maybe it was like 30 days later. I'd been eating so healthy. My mother-in-law at the time bought me like a salt replacement kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to do all the right things. And then I had one of my granddaughters had a birthday party. And so I was making hot dogs and hamburgers for the kids. And I was looking at those hot dogs that I just cooked. And I was like, I haven't had salt in like 30 days. Let me try it. And I took a bite. Dude, it was like I ate a spoonful of salt.
Mind blowing.
It was mind-blowing that my taste had changed that much. So that's a challenge, like a fun challenge to know. If you really think about this, a month from now, you're not gonna think some things taste bad, and you're not gonna want the things you thought you wanted before.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always tell people that. I said, you know how you crave those foods, those things. You go, oh man, today I want pizza. Today I want rib. I want this.
Bacon.
You will have those same cravings for this new lifestyle, this new food, and you won't even think about the old ones anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like I say, it's 21 days to create that habit. That's the first start. Get there, get going, make that your habit. Your palate changes, like you said.
Yeah.
Everything happens, and then all of a sudden you just forget about that old way of life, of eating that way, and it's just second nature. It's like brushing your teeth. Like I say, you wake up, you just do it. And
So
it's
I
easy.
read a book called Bright Line Eating by Susan Pierce Thompson or Susan Thompson Pierce. I can't remember now. Anyway, what I liked is everything I learned, y'all's company has more of. Like I learned we're not eating enough vegetables in the American diet. Like here's my diet every day. I eat two proteins, which is usually 2 eggs for breakfast, 6 ounces of fruit or a whole fruit. Sometimes my bananas are bigger than that.
Oh yeah.
And then I get 1 ounce of breakfast grain right now. And then for lunch, I do 4 ounces of protein, 6 ounces of vegetables, fruit, and 2 ounces of fat. And for dinner, I get the same thing, but no fruit. So 4 ounces, 6 ounces. 6 ounces of vegetables plus an 8-ounce salad for dinner.
Mhm.
That is more vegetables than I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah,
So
that's a lot of food, right?
Yeah, my
Like-
bottom drawers are full of all these green things, and then I have fruit on the second level. I mean, I eat out of my fridge and very seldom out of my pantry because the only thing I get in my pantry is my oatmeal. Because I'll make oatmeal biscuits and stuff. But what y'all have is flooding your system with those vegetables,
Yes.
more so even than that. And
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to eat, my body's trying to digest, but I still have
You're processing.
pesticides and some stuff that the way that they've harvested these vegetables. So my body's, getting better than it was, but definitely not as good as clean as it could be, where y'all's stuff is like flooding your body with vegetables.
And everything has to happen in a progression. It's like it's hard to go from boom boom. Like you said, you're making the decision like I did. It took me all those diets to get there, and then realize something had to change permanently. To make it real. And I just didn't realize. So for me, like I say, being as busy as I've been for my whole life, I needed something convenient and easy.
Oh yeah, you know how long it takes to eat an 8-ounce salad?
Oh my
by
gosh.
the way,
Yeah,
it
it's forever.
And my jaw hurts, and I was nauseous. Like people really. I already hated salads.
Yeah,
So
I'm not a big.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big salad
Yeah.
guy either.
Can you put
And-
dressing on it?
If it's like mayo based or oil based, I can.
I could do some
I have to
amazing
try-
things with olive oil and mayo and
really?
seasonings and
Oh.
balsamic.
Well, make me some dressing, please,
I
because I
can.
am bored.
So what'll blow your mind is like a lot of the foods that we have. We make tacos, we make enchiladas, we make lasagnas, all these things, and it's really replacing a lot of key ingredients in the animal products and stuff like that, taking out sodiums.
That blueberry crumble that your wife
Oh yeah,
posts.
there's desserts we have.
We ate it as dessert.
And people don't realize how good the food is, and you
Yeah.
get to eat it. And when I tell people on the program, never starve yourself. Don't feel like you're going through the day where you're like, oh, I can't wait till the next thing. No, eat something because you need to. Your body is you're gonna reject it. You're gonna hate life. You're gonna be upset all day. You're gonna be that grumpy bear.
Yeah.
I said, you want to have fun with this. You want to enjoy it. And the beauty of it is, it's like, wow, you can eat a lot. You can eat a lot on this deal.
I'm eating more food than I ate before. And I think that was
Yeah.
my problem all these years.
You don't eat
I
enough.
didn't eat enough. And then all of a sudden I'm eating more than I ever ate before.
Exactly.
And I'm
That's
never
crazy.
hungry.
But
I
are you
eat-
still losing weight?
No, so I hit a plateau.
Okay.
But I also don't.
sorry.
No, it's fine. I
You're
got.
exposed.
I know. I lost 33 pounds, and then
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
and then
That's
nothing
awesome.
for the last 8 weeks.
Are you still?
But
you're
I am
still
not
doing the
following.
plan?
I'm
you're
not. I am, but I'm not. So I haven't eaten anything I'm not supposed to, with the exception of last night.
Can you define eaten?
Eaten.
Thank you.
Okay.
Eaten. I ain't eating.
I ain't
nothing.
eating nothing. No,
So-
it said last night, which is a lie. So, but I would eat more peanut butter. I'm allowed to have peanut butter, but I'm eating processed peanut butter, not organic or natural. I would eat
So you
more.
can fine tune those things.
Like I'm not supposed to have fruit at night, but sometimes I have a sweet tooth, so I'll eat a banana.
But isn't that
So-
so much better than Oreos?
Way better. And you would think, but still,
So everything
hit a
in
plateau for 8
So the weight
weeks.
loss
All right.
process, and not just eating healthy for health benefits, all this stuff. There's two different ways we can do this, and I learned this with the weight loss, the diets I did. When you're eating to lose weight, you want to eat something every 2 hours throughout your day. You can't be like, oh, let me eat a big lunch.
like
let
eat
me
like a
big
bird?
dinner. Yeah,
Like they
so
used to say?
Yeah, and if, like if it fits in the palm of your hand, that's about how much you should eat every 2 hours. Every 2 hours
with
eat
your
that.
hands.
Because
No, yeah, just shove it in there.
There's something beautiful about eating
You
food
have to,
with
you have to be
your
like
hands.
caveman style, like the guys on Instagram.
Elbows out. Get away from me.
So eating it every 2 hours and then fasting.
Is
So
that to keep your metabolism going?
that keeps your
every 2
metabolic
hours?
rate just going like, oh,
Okay.
I think, oh, there's food coming. So it wakes up,
So
it wakes up.
and then
wakes
it
up.
doesn't like. I love how we're going back, 5,000 years ago, or however many millions of years ago, whatever it is. Cavemen, or they were running from a saber-toothed tiger, so the adrenaline, and I love those how we act the same way.
Yeah.
And so our body knows if we're eating every 2 hours, our body can go, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We're not. But if we starve ourselves for a certain amount of time, your body goes,
Storage.
better store that fat because apparently we don't have any food.
Hangs
And
on to
so,
everything.
but then now you're going to talk about fasting, which is starving. So tell me what you're going to say about
Not
that.
really,
So,
because I
yeah.
fast, but I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'm never hungry.
So what you want to do, you want to have your metabolic rate doesn't go constantly. It doesn't always just, it's burn. So what happens, you're going through your day, you want it to be burning, you want it to be going, you want it to be very active. And then at the end of the day, you got to shock it, right? So you got to get it to shut off. This gives your organs and internals a true chance to do what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be resting and finishing with the digestion processing and all these different things and absorbing the nutrients. So once your body's like, okay, I can do this, I can actually take this on and do what I'm supposed to be doing, then you throw food at it. All of a sudden, metabolic rate has to change, and it's like, hey, I gotta start breaking down food again. I gotta digest, so it stops the production of what it was doing before, because it can only do so much at one time. Your body's amazing, but it can bounce back, it can change, it has to burn.
Like if your body is digesting your dinner, like if you ate and then went straight to bed and your body's digesting your dinner, your liver's not cleaning. Like it shuts off the process of cleaning out all your waste.
So yeah, that's why you don't want to eat before you go to bed. It just shuts everything off. You ever notice, like when you wake up, you're lighter. Like usually, if you weigh yourself in
I
the
always
morning.
weigh myself in the morning
So
after I go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to make it
That's
right.
the- that's
The
the
lightest you
best.
can get. But the reason why is because your body's been doing its work through the night, through rest, and it's absorbing those nutrients. The water intake, huge. I mean, ounce per pound. I forget what it is. I coach it to people, but I
Yeah.
but yeah, you
It's
should
an
be
ounce
drinking,
per
like
pound.
for a guy, 200-pound guy, like at least a gallon a day.
Yeah.
And that's easy to do once you get used to it, going. And at nighttime, your body's utilizing that. So when you wake up, you're already in a dehydrated state. So the first thing I do, I drink almost 40 ounces of water right when I wake up. I drink a big old electrolyte water every morning. But you got to get the hydration back in your body, and that's what really gets everything going. I have this big old coffee thing here, but since I've been on the program, I don't need the coffee to get my day going. I used to wake up just groggy and the cloud and fog, and now the mental clarity's there. The coffee doesn't really need, I just love coffee. So I drink it.
Yes.
Same.
And
That's
some of the healthiest people I know, they drink coffee all
Oh
day
my
long.
gosh. And they say you would do so much better if you cut it out and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
I like it.
I
my
had,
one
to, I,
thing.
had cut it
That's
out
my
early,
thing.
I had cut it out early on because it was giving me a headache, and
Oh,
I didn't realize. So I cut all this stuff, but I kept coffee,
Mhm.
and every day I would have this headache, and so finally I cut it out after a week, and then I just
So that's not coffee that you came in here drinking?
So I felt better, and I cut it out for 3 months, and I just started drinking coffee again.
Well, caffeine, what it does, it excites your adrenals in your body.
Yeah.
So when your adrenals are excited, it starts pumping that through your body, and everything else kind of stops again. So it's
so that's why it's not good.
that's why it's not good for when you're trying to lose weight and all these different things. So there's all these
I'm doing all
neat
the
things I've
that are
learned how
wrong,
this works.
apparently. I have not had the water intake that I've had for the first couple months.
No, you've got to
I
reset.
keep, I got to reset.
I think this is timely because it's going to motivate you. This conversation, I know you. You're checking yourself right now. You're going, dude,
not drinking my water, eating inflammatory things.
I have a thing for people when they want to lose weight.
Got
For men,
coffee
men,
again.
women. It's a schedule. I send them. I'm like, look, follow this. Do the program with what I'm giving you. You can add in your snacks. You can add in your foods. Make your whole food dinner. And one thing I wanted to touch on too is like with meats, eating 4 ounces is your limit. Like that's your body can break down and produce. It takes 8 hours to break that down, get it in a digestive state, and utilize what's left over from the nutrients from it. So that's hard for a lot of guys to understand. 4 ounces is not that
I
much.
lose more weight if I eat a plant-based protein
Yes.
For lunch.
Yeah, and you can get cleaner protein. You can absorb, like through the food you eat and digest protein through plants, you'll absorb like 70, 80%. When you're absorbing animal proteins, you're getting 20 to 30% of those proteins. So these guys that are like, eat all this meat to gain, it's like, yeah, you see them, they're the skinny fat with the gym. You see them, they're like big old bellies, but they're big ripped guys. It's like, yeah, you're puffing up, of course. But
I remember, and I think it was one of these night talk shows, and there was an actor on there that's a vegan.
Oh yeah.
And the host said, well, don't you worry about getting enough protein. And he said, and I'm not a vegan right now at all, but I thought it was interesting. Yeah. I thought it was interesting that he said, have you ever seen one of those apes, like the king of the jungle, the biggest, strongest, they can rip you in half? They don't eat meat. Like they get all their protein from seeds and nuts and berries and plants. And so that's proof, I guess, that kills that argument of I won't get enough protein if I, but as I say that, I'm going to eat ribs tonight.
So this big protein source everybody eats, their steaks, their meats, and all this stuff is a cow. What's that cow? Cow's not out there eating other steaks. He's eating grass. The best breast meat you can get is grain-fed, grass-fed cows, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, this makes sense. Why don't I just go right to the source and cut that middleman out? Cut that cow out.
By the way, it does
let him live,
It takes longer for you. It takes longer for your body to break down pork than it does beef and chicken. By the way, like a lot longer. So if it's 8 ounces for beef or chicken, pork is like 12 to 14 or 16 hours. Like. It takes a long time. I asked my brother because my brother stopped eating pork, and I was like, "Did you, did you get a new religion or something?" And he said, "No. The reason is because they did an experiment in high school, and they put pork in, and they left it out
in the soda,
and and within so many days or hours, like worms started coming out of it, and
you could pour Pepsi or Coca-Cola on top of put a pork chop on a plate, and you'll watch them start crawling out their long worm little things, parasites that come out. It looks delicious when you
should do that with your ribs before you cook
So that's
them.
why I tell everybody the ribs, all that stuff. Go ahead and just pour a little soda on it before you cook it.
Yeah, so my brother doesn't eat pork because of the pesticides. And also like deworming yourself is trending right now on TikTok.
Deworming?
Like people are literally deworming themselves.
People are carrying around pounds of worms.
Yeah, it's a thing
in their body.
You can eat papaya seeds is one way you could do it too. Theirs is more gentle on you.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier to do than this crazy trends.
Yeah, but can you fish with them?
Yeah, some of them pretty much.
Big enough
They
you
look
can put
like
on a
you
hook.
can.
I've seen them. It's gross.
That's gross.
Seen some,
The way they're treated and everything, you look at like the way the pork's handled and treated, and they get like all these infections in them and stuff like that. And they'll take when the meat's going across the counter, they'll see like the big pus pockets in them, and they'll stab them and they'll just drain it out.
Oh my god!
Okay, and I just threw up in my mouth.
There you go. Let it go into the production part. They'll slice it up from there, and they'll drain it out and wash it off. And it's just disgusting when you see it. Like it was eye opening for me to really research that. And I tell anybody, if you haven't seen the documentary, two of them. One changed my life for trying the plant-based diet was Game Changers on Netflix.
Okay.
You see all the pro athletes, all these guys that can't build muscle. They say you can't build muscle, you're going to be protein deficient, all this stuff, all the untrue facts. Watch that if you're athletic and you want to
Game
Changers. And then the other one that opened my eyes to all the stuff about the pork and the industry was What the Health.
You mentioned that.
Oh my goodness, that was
all right. So What the Health and Game Changers.
And you're working on getting your training. You want to start physical training?
Yeah, I think I told you that because I want to learn the physical training aspect for the muscular stuff in your body. I just want to learn it from my own education.
Yeah.
I don't want to become a personal trainer or anything like that.
Okay.
But if it helps that next level to understand your body, I
would
want to
love
learn
you.
it.
I would love you to meet my friend Randy, who is a certified certified trainer, physical trainer.
Yeah.
He went to take all the classes in Austin at this famous gym there, and he that's not his full-time thing, but he's been doing it for so many years. And he does, like, I think you would enjoy, like, obstacle course racing and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like physical stuff. He's in that world, and
Super
he
fun.
he and his wife. I was thinking about them this whole time because they eat whole. They read The Wild Diet, and so they eat a wild diet, and everything they eat, they don't eat processed food.
Yep.
I mean, if he does, it's Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, exactly. So
If he was a franchise owner.
That's his little cheat. You know, that's his thing. But everything they make, it's amazing. His wife has gotten so good at cooking whole.
Yeah.
That she makes really good food.
That's the hardest part to get under control. Like, everybody doesn't understand, but you're cooking food one way or the other, and you're making choices. If you reach for this, you reach for that at the store. Which one are you going to pick? You know,
Are you going to get a packet of McCormick's chili seasoning, or are you going to make your own from whole spices?
Yep.
And she can make it taste just like the one from HEB
Without the garbage in it.
Without all the preservatives and garbage in it. Yeah,
absolutely. It's amazing. So,
man, this was eye opening.
Yeah. Well, that's the journey I'm on, so I thought I'd bring somebody along on this. I like to. I feel like our show is kind of people who influence our life in some form or fashion, and so
that's kind of how this started. You know, you and I just being friends and sitting around talking about stuff that interested us, whether it was spiritual or emotional or life journey.
Yeah.
And then we just bring in people we find interesting.
Yeah.
And make new friends. I mean,
because otherwise we would sit at the coffee shop and talk about you anyway.
Right.
I would good gossip about
it. Always good, right?
Yeah, always. I'm like, oh, you have to meet this person. This is what we talked about, and we would just kind of geek out on that. And,
so then we started a podcast club, because once I started finding podcasts, I was listening to real estate and investing podcasts, things like that. And so we decided to have a podcast club instead of a book club, which is for girls. We had a podcast club, and I would just send her an episode of something. Go listen to this before next Thursday, and we're meeting at the coffee shop at whatever time, and then we could just sit and discuss it. And she might have a page of notes because it would blew her mind too. And then at that point, it's like, okay, next week she has to send me one, and that's kind of how this whole thing started for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I have so many friends now from just doing this.
Yeah.
But so we used to, she and I have to. As friends, you have to be careful not to gossip about someone, because gossip is horrible because you're not there to defend yourself, or they're not there to defend themselves. So you could say anything you want about somebody who's not here, and it's a character assassination, I think. And so I'm trying to get to where I have zero tolerance for gossip in my own life.
Yep.
But I love good gossip.
It's a hard thing to control. You always want to talk about it, and whether it is good.
You're not trying to hurt. I wasn't trying to. I wasn't. No, I'm just letting you know so you can pray for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bless her heart. That's how Christians get away with gossiping, is they say, "Hey, I need you to pray for this guy. He's cheating on his wife." And anyway, no, I'm just kidding. So, tell us about somebody in your life that you want to gossip about in a good way. Like, brag about somebody.
Man, that's crazy. That's a hard one. I didn't come prepared for that one.
But
yeah,
You said you're good off the cuff.
Yeah, I do say I am pretty proud of my wife because of what she's done.
What is her name?
Christina Mullenix.
Christina Mullenix.
She's when we got married, she was very quiet. She only hung out with her sisters. That was her friends growing up,
Wow.
and that stuff. And to see her come from that to what she does with networking and all the stuff that she does now and hosting meetings and all the stuff, it's like I've seen a huge change in her, and that's impressive to see.
Yeah.
It's changed the dynamic of our relationship. It's changed everything in life for her, and just to see her on this different level every day, it's made me want to go higher, because I was always the life of the party. Wherever we went, I was alive. I was the fun.
So her light's brighter than your light sometimes?
Yeah, now I got to do some catching up. It's just
well, you can't have two bright lights, right? There'll be, one of you's got to be. I just think it's cool that your best friend, your wife, the love of your life, is also on the same journey, and so
Yeah.
it makes it easier for you.
We do it as a team now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And every one of my clients, everybody that I help, it's amazing just to see them, to have that change in their life and to see that aspect change for them. I mean, I got this guy in Vegas. I helped him recently. It was like me. It took him like 6 months before he got on the program. Financial reasons, all these different things, jobs with COVID, all this different stuff. When he got on, he's like, bro, he was so live and so excited. You have no idea. I have an idea.
Yeah, I've been there.
I have an
I've been
idea.
there.
So
Yeah.
he was just so live and so full of energy, and just was like, man, this is it. This is why I do this, because I want to make that
That's
impact in
great.
somebody's life, and they don't have to pay me for it. They don't have to be anything. And I've never been like that motivated. I was always happy. Oh, I made this guy win a race, with my motor. This was so cool. I got that, But at the end of the day, it's like something goes wrong, something happens. Oh man, everyone's got their negatives, their downs. This has been just like every bit of it's been positivity in my life to make me change. It's like I said, I suffered from massive depression and crazy things that went on with that. And to have my lifestyle change and influence somebody else, and we're all on this big positive level, it's crazy.
And
It's a
your
great
wife
feeling.
brought you through this part of the journey.
Yeah, she got me to finally try it, like I said.
Yeah.
months
She was
of
on
not.
it. She was doing something with it before you.
Yeah, she did it way before me.
You you said COVID, and when this episode was filmed, we're still dealing with that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And we've talked about we have everyone in this room, I think, has a healthy understanding that it's real and it's never leaving. It's just
Not going
there's
anywhere.
going to be another variant. Then there's always going to be another variant, and so life as we know it has probably changed forever. And so we just have to make the best of it. And I think it's safe to say, even though none of us are doctors, that the healthier you are, the better off you're going to be if it gets to you, when it gets to you.
Yep.
And if you're obese, if you have addictions, it's going to hit you worse. You're going to have what they call, you've heard, comorbidities. You're going to have that because you're not living your best life.
Your
And
immune system's so
your
weak,
immune system
it
is
can't
going to
fight
be
it
weaker.
off.
If you have inflammation in any form or fashion, it's going to wreak havoc on your body.
Absolutely.
So my pastor likes to say, trust God, eat right, exercise, and trust God, and you'll be fine.
At the top and the bottom.
I can agree with
Sandwich.
that.
Yeah.
Eat right, diet and exercise. It sounds so cliche. And if
Yeah.
you want to feel better, diet and exercise. All right, stop saying diet and exercise, but it's that simple.
It's that simple. When,
but that
yeah,
hard, right?
Yeah. And anytime somebody says, "Oh, what are you doing?" Eating right,
Yep.
exercising.
You say-
It seems boring to say, but there's no magic pill.
It's hard to understand. I never understood it, and people tell you to love yourself. Love yourself enough to take care of yourself. That's
That's
a hard thing for a lot
I
of
love
men to
myself
understand.
enough to eat cheesecake.
See, that's the thing. So I thought I was.
I reward
Do you
myself.
hate yourself
or,
enough to
or is it
eat
because I hate
cheesecake?
myself? That's gonna mess with me because next time I'm having like a really cool bowl of ice cream,
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
say,
be
"Am I
like,
hating myself right now?
Am I
or
hating
loving
myself or loving myself? I'm just kidding.
I was
understand.
hating myself when I was watching Netflix for weekends and eating like crap. I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't getting rest, and I wasn't healing my body from the amount of work I was doing. I was making it worse.
I used to do those same things, and I took away the TV. I said, you know what? I gained hours of time to do extra things that I wanted to do. The gym was never thought. I didn't care about going to the gym. I didn't care about exercise. I lost 167 pounds without going to the gym. So when I got that level, I was like, wow, I lost all this weight. I still sit and watch TV. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take that out of the equation now, and I want to start replacing that with more productive activities, whether it be for my work, whether it be for my family, whether it be for myself.
But that was
In the
one
gym.
step along the way. That was a step along the way. You didn't
Yeah.
start out like,
Yeah.
look at me, I'm perfect, and I don't watch TV and I
Yeah.
go to the gym. You did
nothing
one
like
step
that.
at a time, and the mindset you were in after you lost 160 something pounds was a healthier mindset of, now I can easily trade that addiction for this addiction, which is a healthy one, or this habit for this habit. And you were in a different mindset than you were 168 pounds ago.
Yep.
And so know that if you start something halfway through it, you're going to be making decisions. Your taste buds are going to change, and so is your mindset, and so is your perspective. And so don't look at James and say, you're going to be at James in 30 days. James is 4 years into this thing, or whatever, 3 years into this
4.
thing.
Yeah.
And so don't lose hope, and find him on Instagram, find his wife and him on Instagram, and you can start asking questions. Just start poking him and ask him for questions. Ask him questions, and then that will help you decide if this is the journey that you want to go on.
I want to go with what you said right there too. And the mindset is everything, because everybody, one of the questions I asked over that time, man, how did you stay motivated? And I tell everybody, motivation is a luxury. It's something that only happens at the beginning. It goes away really quick. You're motivated. And that's why people are, oh man, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to get big. Once they go for 6 weeks, they don't see they became Arnold Schwarzenegger in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Their motivation's gone. Well, that mindset that I understand that this is going to take time, that this is going to be there, but my end goal, my Z, from my A to Z, I'm going to get there no matter what. Nothing's going to stop me. And that's your mindset. You have to achieve that. You have to get there with that. So,
Well, listen,
And some
that's
days
so
you're
true.
not motivated. Action creates motivation,
Right.
not the other way
Not
around.
the other way around.
exactly.
Yeah.
Action, that's what I was about to say. What you do, when you do something, you get excited about what you're doing. It's not the other way around where I'm excited about this, and so I'm going to start doing these boring steps. I thought earlier when you were talking about just step by step by step, sometimes it's boring.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm a big San Antonio Spurs fan, or was, when they were winning all their championships and everything. I love being a Spurs fan. I still am. It's harder now, but I am. And they
Same
would,
with Cowboy
people
fans.
yeah, and Longhorns.
Yeah.
People called it boring basketball because they weren't high flying circus on the basketball court. They were just doing the fundamental things. They used to call Tim Duncan Mr. Fundamental because he would just do the right things, and they would win championships, but it was boring. Base hits, small ball, just hit base hits. I tell my son all the time, just hit a base hit, hit a base hit. You can't hit 2 home runs in one at bat, and you can't hit 2 birdies in one swing, and you can't score 2 touchdowns with 1 throw. You have to do little steps, and all of a sudden you load the bases, and then somebody hits a double, and then you score 3 runs, and you're like, hey, I'm back in this thing.
Yep.
So step by step.
Yep. With consistency.
This
That's
is why
always
we
key.
have more male listeners. He speaks for it.
Oh, because I talk about sports.
I don't know what he was talking about, kicking the goals and stuff, but I'm a motor guy, so all the sports goes.
I don't know how that works, because in football it's blocking and tackling and it's fundamentals, and I don't know how that works in racing. But it's there are little things that you can do in racing. So maybe, dude, I don't think anybody else has done this, but you could write a little small book about how to hit base hits in racing. Like what is
well, the saying I use in racing is to finish first, you must first finish. So that is like, you got to get through the steps to get there. You got to make, like, off-road racing is a challenging game. You got guys that have some of the most horsepower in the world. Their trucks are the fastest things on the planet you'd ever seen. But if they go out 50 miles and hit a rock or break, and they're not consistent enough to get through that 1,000-mile race they got to get through, they're not going to finish the race. It doesn't matter how fast they are. It doesn't matter. If they don't finish the race, they're not gonna finish first. You can't.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
One of my friends her son was at the Baja 1,000.
Oh yeah.
And he
Just
was on
happened.
a recovery team with a team. He was out
really?
there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's crazy stories. We should
Yeah.
get him to come tell some of those stories. But man, I
another
can't.
episode.
I'm gonna come find you. I have some friends and their sons that are into racing and into building and just mechanics.
Yeah.
And they want a career in that, and I'm gonna bring them to meet you.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
Maybe we could have
Talk
a
about
whole
that one day.
healthy, we could eat a salad together.
Yeah.
And talk about it.
I'll bring some pears.
And real peanut butter or something. Almond butter. Yeah. Awesome. It was nice to meet you,
You
man.
too,
Thanks for
guys,
coming
man.
on.
Thanks for having me. It was a
Yeah.
blast. I love doing this stuff. I love being able to help whoever's next, that needs help and wants it. So
That's cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, until next time. See you then.